We've already looked at a bunch of different ways of obfuscating the SQL injection payload. What I want to look at now is a couple of other ways that we could actually manipulate that original source string such that it doesn't match any sort of patterns you might find in signatures. So think about the different ways in SQL that you could manipulate and transform those queries such that they pass the signatures but are then restored and executed as a valid query. So for example, what about reversing the string? What if we did something like this? So you can see on the line that begins with set there, we're using the reverse command. And if we read this backwards, we can see it says select password from user profile. Now that string is obviously reversed. The reversed function will re-reverse that string, and then the exec command will simply execute it. So any sort of pattern that's looking for select or from or anything like that is not going to identify this, not unless the pattern itself is smart enough to identify when the string is reversed. Another way we could go about this is concatenating the string. So we can actually join the whole thing up like this. Now this looks very messy, so let me explain what's going on here. We're declaring two variables, x and y, they're both varchar 80s. X is the actual SQL injection attack, and if you ignore all the lowercase x's in that variable, you can see that again it says select password from user profile, and then y is a simple concatenation of the actual injection in that line. So in fact we're concatening 6 separate substrings, and each one of these substrings is just selecting out the piece of the SQL query. So again, any sort of signatures that are looking for keywords like select or from or any sort of pattern that might normally adhere to are not going to identify it in this particular string. Not unless it's intelligent enough to realize the actual semantic nature of the query. The fact that SQL Server will break this string down and extract a command, which is a SQL injection attack. So any sort of signature-based defense would have to be quite sophisticated to actually pick this attack up. And really that's been the story of everything we've looked at in this module. If there's sufficient sophistication to understand the implied intent of the injection payload, then the request could be rejected. But all of these do require much more than just simple pattern matching. They require some real smarts in what is inevitably a device sitting in front of the web app, because certainly just untrusted user validation is not going to realize that most of the evasion techniques that we've looked at in this module are actually SQL injection attacks.